Hello, parents, and welcome to uh, sort of back to school night. My name is Mike Bertolino. If you are watching this, then your student has World Cultures with me during Block 4. Um, if you want to see a course syllabus, I have it posted on Schoology so that you can look at it at your leisure. I'm not going to read it to you because I feel like that's not a good use of our time. I am going to try to keep this as brief as I can while at the same time giving you as much information as possible. So, if I talk about something that you have questions on, or if I don't talk about something that you have questions on, please email me at mbertolino@cocalico.org. You can call me also here at the school. I do my best to try to respond to emails as promptly as I can. One thing I do want you to know is that I am the baseball coach here at Cocalico. So as we start to get towards the spring season, if you email me, later in the day, I might not get back to you until later that evening because I just won't get a chance to see your email until I get home. And depending on, if we have an away game or something like that, it can be quite late. So I'm not ignoring your communication at that point. I just may not have seen it. As I said, this is World Cultures. This is a required course. What that means is that a student needs to pass the course in order to, move on and graduate from Cocalico High School. So, obviously recognizing that this is, very important for all of us who are involved. Obviously, the pandemic has changed the way we do things a little bit. This class meets in Lecture Hall A. The reason for that is my classroom is quite small, and it wouldn't be possible to get the number of students we have in this class into my classroom safely. So I want to say a big thank you to Mr. Irvine and administration for allowing us to have our class in Lecture Hall A and enabling us to stay together as a class and not having to, break the class up and do a number of different things. So I appreciate that. So far, it has worked really, really well. It's gone really, really great. I'm very thankful for our students. They're very adaptable. This is a good group. This is a group I really enjoy being around. A lot of great conversations already. A lot of fun. I'm not going to hide that. My goal is, yes, absolutely. I want them to have a strong understanding of the concepts and big ideas that we value here in the World Cultures class and that we value here in the Cocalico High School Social Studies Department. But also, I want to have some fun too. If there's one thing that I've learned from the whole pandemic situation is that it can get taken away very quickly and without warning. Last year, in March, we left class thinking, okay, we'll be back in 2 weeks. And I never got a chance to sit down with those classes face to face again. So I am determined to, yes, obviously deliver content, but also have some fun too. And, hopefully your students are with me on that. And I know that they are because we've been together. So, again, one of the other things that the pandemic has changed is kind of how we grade a little bit, or how I grade a little bit. Typically, there's usually a bit more homework. This semester, there probably won't be as much homework. In part because, I want students to be able to ask me questions, and sometimes it can be difficult in a lecture hall with everything on the computer, because everything will be on Schoology, to facilitate those questions easily. So I try to do as much as I can in class, which means less homework out of class. I know your students will be very disappointed to hear that. That is extreme sarcasm. They are not bummed by that at all. And, so far it's been working pretty well. So we're going to continue with that. Tests and quizzes will be conducted on Schoology, just like all other forms of assessment. I'm not going to get into there's this many multiple choice questions and this many true false questions. The reason I'm not going to do that is because I use a function on Schoology where quiz and test questions are determined randomly. So if you ask me how many multiple choice questions there are, for one student there may be 8, for another there might be 12, for everybody else it might be somewhere in between that. It could be as few as 5 or 6. So I don't know what your student's quiz is going to look like because it's random. There are always essays. If I'm being honest, I've used essays more this year than in most other years because the best way to tell whether or not a student understands the topic that we're covering is by writing and expressing yourself through writing. And I recognize that that is not a strength for everybody, and I respect that. And when we do take quizzes and tests with writing portions, I do my best to try to keep the questions as simple as I can to allow for the responses to have nuance, but also to allow for the responses to be simple if need be. And I'm okay with that, and I understand that. So, if your student has, questions or issues or, has any concerns regarding writing or anything like that, just, tell them to talk to me, send me a Schoology message or send me an email, and, I'd be happy to address that and kind of figure that out with all the stakeholders involved. I believe that communication is really important, especially, listen, it's always important, but it's even more important for the way school is operating right now. And even as, we come in, every student 5 days a week, it's still going to be important. It's going to be imperative to what we're doing. And that communication doesn't just extend to the student and myself. It extends to, parents, guardians, students, administration, teachers, all the stakeholders need to communicate if our students are going to succeed in the way that I know they can. I'm going to communicate as openly and honestly as I can with the students, as I am with you, as I am with everyone. And if that communication is, a multi-path street, in other words, like everybody's doing that, then we're not going to have any issues. There's going to be a lot of success. Every assignment that we have is posted in Schoology, every single one of them, whether it's a daily classwork, whether it's vocab, whether it's a chapter review, whether it's a project or a test or a quiz. It's all in Schoology. And the way I've done it so far up to, today in this semester, not just this semester, but last semester as well, is basically I take Wednesdays and say, okay, on Wednesdays, I am going to enter grades. However many it is, whether it's 3 or 4 or 2, I'm going to enter grades for that week, that Wednesday. And even once all the students come back, I will still be doing Wednesday data entry days. For that reason, if a student is missing an assignment, it will, in Schoology, have an orange box in it that means missing. If a student has submitted a blank assignment, there will be a blue box that means incomplete. Obviously, after a period of time, those assignments become zeros, and obviously those negatively impact the grade quite a bit. So if your student has a 0 and they're missing something, it means they didn't turn it in, they didn't submit it. Now, it's happened before, and it's okay, it happens, where a student completes something and just forgets to submit it. Tell them to submit it right away. On Wednesdays, I always go back and check and see, hey, is this student still missing, X, Y, or Z? Please do me a favor, though. Have your student send me a Schoology message and just say, hey, just so you know, I turned in the Chapter 2, Section 1 classwork, or I turned in the India Unit vocab, or whatever it may be, so that I can find it very quickly and easily, and so I can get it entered sooner. Because that's my goal. If a student hands something in, I want to enter it as soon as I possibly can. So have them send me a Schoology message that just says, hey, I turned this in, just so you know. All right, so we're almost at 10 minutes. I don't want to take too much of your time. I appreciate you taking the time to watch this, and I hope that I answered any questions you may have. And if you have a question that I didn't address, as I said, email me at mbertolino@cocalico.org. You can give me a call here at the school, and I will be happy to communicate with you and, address any concerns that you may have. So thank you very much for your time. I really, really appreciate it. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Stay safe.